welcome to the show! I am Bane, your host for today, and we are back with another tier list in Tier Maker for Pokemon types. And it's Steel this week. Howdy! Hope a fantastic day, fantastic time, fantastic evening, and a fantastic life right now, everybody. I'm back, I'm here, and I'm ready to play some video games, or I guess, vent and talk about video games, I guess, a lot. Hey, so yes, we are back once again. Hope you all have a lovely weekend. I got to play a lot of Elden Ring. I have beaten most of the DLC. I didn't get through all of it. I'm taking it nice and comfy and steady. I fucked up one quest line, which I'm a bit like, oh, damn it, they seemed really cool. But I didn't know they had a quest line. I should have assumed. I should have assumed they had a quest. It was on me. It's been a while, okay? For reference, it was the Night of the Night. The Sword of the Night quest line. Some random character. But if you play the DLC, you probably know the character at least, so. They were really, really cool, and I'm sad I messed up their quest line because I just didn't do a lot of shit, and I'm trying to do it as blind as possible. I don't want to, like, fuck stuff up. I also think I'm only missing, like, 3 remembrances or something. I don't know what the final boss is, but I know there's at least 2 more big bosses that I haven't gotten through yet. Oh, no, 3. I haven't beaten Mesmer yet. I started Mesmer fight, but I haven't beaten him yet. And I will say, there are some wonderfully done boss fights in the game. Genuinely, also, anybody complaining that the DLC is too difficult, it's really not. Unless something drastically changes, admittedly, I haven't gotten through the whole way through Mesmer yet. Only, like, played with them a little bit. But I beat I beat, actually, 2 of apparently the hardest bosses in the DLC on, Saturday. One of them took me, like, a little under an hour. Like, he wasn't too bad. He was a very, very fun fight. Egon is the best, just want to say. Egon's dialogue is amazing. That's the teaser for that boss, which is apparently one of the hardest in the DLC. They are challenging, do not get me wrong. But they're not that bad. They're brutal, but they're not that bad. It didn't take me too long. And the other one, for reference, I was doing the St. Trina stuff. And it was the Remembrance boss in the St. Trina questline. I literally beat them on my second attempt with very little effort. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. They're not that bad. I realized the trick with them. There is very blatantly a trick. The trick is, treat them like Malekith from the main game. Don't try and be cute. Don't try and be tactical. Just beat it to death. It's got no health. It's very aggressive and hits very hard. And it's very fast. Just hit it. It's made of paper. That's the thing. That's the counterman. So, yeah. So far, very, very good. I'm very impressed with the DLC. I also went through Hell. My god, is that biome. And the run up to the biome. Oh, it's mean. It's really well done. Like, beautiful. One of the most memorable areas. Hey, buddy. In the Elden Ring DLC, but yeah. Very well done, but I hate it. But it's great, but I hate it. So, yes, we are doing Steel types, my 3rd favorite type in Pokemon. And I've got a bit of a thing to say about Steel types. So, Steel type, while it is my 3rd favorite type in Pokemon, it's also probably my 2nd most used type in Pokemon, I will say. I don't think I've ever built a team without at least one Steel type, if I can put it on there. I really enjoy using Steel types. Like, Fire is my 2nd favorite type because the hits hit really hard in Fire type for me. Oh, you know it. You know it. I love Dialga. Dialga's probably going in S tier, gotta be honest. Dialga's probably going in S. I love Dialga so much. Steel type is gonna have a lot of very, very high ranks. Steel type, I think, genuinely, might be my, like, the lowest number of offended Pokemon of the entirety of Pokemon. I can't think of a single Steel type that I actively dislike. There's a few I dislike, but there's not any that I go, I don't like it. It's like, it's not great. It's about the lowest I put for Steel types. Steel types are very, very cool. I love them. I've liked them since they were introduced, and they've always been a lot of my absolute favorite types. Yes, I do include regional variants. In fact, you'll actually notice that the first 3 Pokemon lines are regional variants. I will be doing all of them. Once again, Arceus and Silverly are on this list. About them, really. They're both cool. I like them, but I'm not too bothered about them. So if I put them in a place that wasn't last time, just remember I do like them. They'll probably be in, like, good ranks. They're cool, but I am not liking them any more than any other version of the same Pokemon, right? It was on there. Ghostfire Typhlosion got lower rank than Typhlosion because while it is better, I slightly like normal Typhlosion's vibe better, I believe. I really like both of them. But I like the design of normal Typhlosion a little bit more. Yeah. Basically, Hisuian Typhlosion to me looks a bit more like it's kind of Weasel-esque, right? It's kind of like a Weasel type thing. Normal Typhlosion to me looks like a Wolverine, and I'm a big fan of Wolverines. So, yeah, the animal and the superhero is one of my favorites. But, yeah, I really like Wolverine. So, the design-wise basically makes normal Typhlosion a little bit higher. And I'm going to be honest, I use them both exactly the same way. Also, I like Flashfire a bit more on it because it's an Eruption Pokemon. Give it a Choice Scarf, give it Eruption, boom, done. Sorted. I really do like Typhlosion. Very, very fun Pokemon to use. But yeah, so we are going through all of the Steel types. As I said, Steel type's one of my favorites, my third favorite type, but it might genuinely be one of my most used types. After Dragon, it almost certainly is my most used type. Yeah, it is. It's Steel Ground, I believe. Or Ground Steel. Can't remember the order. But, yeah, it's a Alolan Dugtrio is a Steel type. It's a great Pokemon. I really like it. So, yes. We'll start with the first Pokedex-wise Steel type, but absolutely not the original Steel type. It's very funny that because the other three are so early in the Kanto Pokedex, they actually are before the first real Steel type. But yeah, I constantly use Steel type Pokemon. I love them so much. And I regularly use them. I basically want to get that across. Every Steel type is good. And I genuinely enjoy using every single one. And I don't think there's not many Steel types that I'm just looking at the list here. There's not many I wouldn't consider using. Pretty much. I like them all. I would consider using almost every single one. It would be on the table to use every single one, at least. Like, probably a few I'd go, probably not. But genuinely, every single thing on this tier list would be at least in a consideration to use as an actual Pokemon run. Look. We'll get to my daughter when we get to my daughter, okay? I love that Pokemon so much. But yeah, so we start. Oh yeah, also, I will go through the names of the tiers. So, top one, S tier, Super! I had to name it Super. It's freaking Frankie from One Piece. He's one of the best characters as a cyborg. It just felt right. You know, I also can't do the thing he does. My shoulders do not allow it. That's the closest I can get. But he's great. I love him. He's awesome. A is Adamantine. I really, really, really like these Pokemon. This is going to be a very, very high bar ones. Steel type, since I love so many of them. The good ones are just slap. It's going to be just like fire. Like, you're going to see a trend with my early ones that some of my favorite types. There are a certain few Pokemon which hard carry the type, but I like a lot of them. So, Steel types are all great for me, so yeah. Adamantine, my favorite metal that you can get in a fantasy setting. I will nearly always try my best to get an Adamantine piece of equipment, because I just love it. I love its concept. I love how it looks in most settings. Like, it's either blue or black. It's indestructible, pretty much. I love it. So yeah, there's definitely. B is Beautifully Crafted. These are also going to be very nice Pokemon. Not really my vibe, probably, but Pokemon that I really like. That's probably what B is going to be in this tier. It's Pokemon that I really, really like, but don't really agree with me personally. You know? They are very, very good Pokemon, and they're very cool Pokemon, and I love their designs. But they don't specifically gel for me, but I can look at it and accept that's a really cool Pokemon. Which is going to be a few on this list, which are going to be. Like, they're great, and I love them, but they're not for me personally. C, can't find a fault. Genuinely just going to be It's a good Pokemon. Decent. That's what it's going to be. It will be mostly, I don't particularly have strong feelings about it. For a lot of it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Right? That's basically what C is going to be. But I guess some people like it. But it's not really a, It's not going to get in a higher tier, basically. That's all C is. C, once again, being my average bar. D is dented. These are the ones that I kind of don't like. I'd even put in a sixth list for this one, because I don't think anything's going to get below that. Genuinely, D is the dented, it's kind of battered. I'm not a huge fan of it. You know, that's basically what D is going to be. But not necessarily a bad Pokemon. It's just not for me, right? And much more not for me is like, people like this kind of vibe. There will be a few on there in D tier. I couldn't think of a single Pokemon in the Steel type. And looking at this list, yeah, there's nothing that would get lower than that. There's nothing I abjectly hate in this list. Every single Steel type has a place and is pretty cool. But, you know, some are cooler than others. So, let us begin with Alolan Sandshrew. I really like Alolan Sandshrew. It's a cool idea. Weird typing. Steel on paper sounds like a great typing, right? Oh, you're not wrong. Also, that sounds good, yeah. Spaghetti meatballs are gonna be good. Homemade meatballs too? What meat are you using? Pork, beef, lamb? What are you using? This is a very important question, by the way. I'm interrupting the tier list. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet. Well, actually, no, I have eaten. I had a pork cutlet sandwich earlier, which was very good. I better even get chicken wings for tonight, actually. Ooh, that's gonna be tasty. Yeah, nice. Good shout. Fantastic choice. Mixed is always the best. So yeah, back to the tier list. Sorry for the interruption. But yeah, on the tier list, Ice and Steel sounds on paper like it'd be a good typing, because Steel is the most defensive typing in Pokemon. It has the best set of resistances, the entire lot. Ice has fuck all resistances, but it's really good at the offense. So you'd think, okay, this would probably work quite well, because Steel is going to compensate for Ice's lack of defense. Yeah, it's quad weak to fire and quad weak to fighting is the other problem. It's quad weak to two different types, both of which are very common. Like fighting type and fire type are both really, really good types, and they're both really, really common. You just use them. You quite often will bring one of them to counter the Steel type to begin with. So, being quad weak to those is really bad. Personally, it's like a bad type mixed with a good type in theory makes the sense, and it would be good. Unfortunately, because they're both like solid object types, they have the same kind of problems. They have the same weaknesses. So yeah, but I do quite like it. I think that Alolan Sandshrew is going in B tier. I kind of dig it. Same with Alolan Sandslash. I kind of like it. Alolan Sandslash a little bit higher. I do like it. I think it's a very neat looking Pokemon. I like the design. I like the kind of iceberg thing. I've always liked Sandslash and Sandshrew. I always had a bit of a soft spot for them. Not particularly used them a ton, but they're like, I like them, right? I don't want to be crazy upset. I have a shiny one in Pokerogue as well, which is always nice. I don't hate them. They're not going in like the heavy super tiers, but I definitely see, if someone said to me that Alolan Sandslash is their favorite Pokemon, I'd go, I can see it, right? And that's one of the big things that's going to be about B tier. It's like, I can see someone really, really, like, going hard for this Pokemon. That came out wrong. You know what I meant. Going, like, really liking this Pokemon. It's a good one. They are good Pokemon. I think they're great. Now, Alolan Diglett. I'm going to be honest here. Alolan Diglett, specifically, I really don't like. I don't like its design. It's just worse Diglett to me. I don't like it. It looks wrong. It just looks a bit weird. So I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like how they didn't change a ton of it. Diglett itself is quite a cool Pokemon. I do like Diglett and Dugtrio. But Alolan Diglett it's really not for me. Like, I guess if you like it, you like it, but it is going in D tier. I'm not a huge fan. However, Fabio, Alolan Duck Trio, I think that's a great design. Yeah, Diglett's a meme, right? It's not bad. I like normal Diglett more than Alolan Diglett. Alolan Duck Trio, though, is very cool. I do like that. I love the, like, Fabio hair. I think it's a cool design. It's good. Steel Ground is a very, very nice combo. Just generally, it's really, really good. So, yeah, I very, very much do like Alolan Duck Trio, and you're not going into A tier, but I'd say you're a solid, very, very solid B. As soon as Alolan Sandslash decides to move. Yeah, there we go. I like it. I definitely get why people love it. Right, I know quite a few people who really, really like Alolan Duck Trio. And it's a cool idea. Its ability is really cool. Tangling Hair is a really cool ability. It's like you hit it, it gets slower. Would be better on something that's tankier, because it's still a fucking Diglett. Right? It's Duck Trio. Duck Trio is not tough at all. But Steel type means it might survive a hit for a few types. Right? And also, Steel Ground. Love both types. Ground is my 5th favorite type. We're going to get to that in 2 weeks. And I'm very much excited to do the Ground tier list. You already know who's going to be number 1. But Ground is another type I really like. Ground is definitely a type I love using more as well. But yeah. Alola and Duck Trio, great Pokemon. Galarian Meowth, though. My god, I love this Pokemon. I really like it. This is the best Meowth by far. I don't care what anybody says. I really like this Pokemon. Alolan Meowth, you're immediately A tier. Immediately. I love the beard. I love his just crazed look on his face. I love the huge beard. I love that he's Steel type. And the big freaking claw look to him. He's a fighter, and I really like it. I really, really like Alolan Meowth. Galarian Meowth. I hate Alolan Meowth. Galarian Meowth is... It feels to me, always, that in Alola, they had Alolan Meowth and Alolan Persian. And people fucking hated them, right? They are not good. They're not good designs. They're bad. They're not great. The only thing the entire line has going for it is I believe Alolan Persian has fur coat. That's literally it. That's the only thing going for it. But they went again. They went back and went, right, we want people to love the variant version of Meowth. How do we do it? We make another one and make it this. And make it a barbarian. And I love it. Speaking of barbarians, Berserker. Berserker is cracked. I love this Pokemon. I love the idea. I love the design. It's a tiny Viking with tough claws. I love it. It's easily my favorite Meowth version. And, like, it's so cool. Berserker, you're getting S tier. Probably not a high S tier, I will say that. But it's an S tier. I really, really, really like this Pokemon. I've used it. It's a good time. I really like it. It's a very fun Pokemon. I highly recommend if you haven't tried it in a game as well, just give it a try. Genuinely. It's worth it. It's worth the attempt. It's a very, very cool Pokemon, and I really, really like it. So yeah. Genuinely awesome Pokemon. What can I say? It ticks so many of the boxes for me. What did you miss, ads? You missed me gushing about a Galarian Meowth and Berserker. Fucking love those Pokemon. Say, Berserker, easy S tier. Galarian Meowth, easy A tier. And I'm very happy with that spot for them. Honestly. There's almost nothing I can fault Berserker about. Genuinely. It's the best form of Meowth. By far. It's such a cool idea as well. Like, it's great. It's really, really cool. So, yeah. Huge, huge, huge fan there. Magnemite and... Actually, no. This one, I can do the whole Magnezone line. Magnemite, I like it. It's cool. But I'm not a huge fan of it. So, you're going in C tier. Magneton as well. And Magnezone. I will say, in order. But, I will say... These are ones which is definitely, they're not for me. Actually, you know what? I'll put Magnezone up a tier. I'll put it up a tier. I have never been a huge fan. Yeah. No, here's the bit for me. Magnemite, it's cool. I like it. It's cool. I can't find a fault with it. Magneton, exactly the same. Magnezone, I think, is a significant upgrade, and I like the design more. It's just never been one for me. I have used it before. It's like, it's pretty good, but I always go, I could use something else, right? It's a very, very, very good Pokemon. I will definitely say that. It's very good. In power, it's amazing. It's an absolute beast. I just don't hugely like it myself. But I definitely see why people love it. Right? And I know there's so many people that really, really like this Pokemon. It's not for me. Genuinely. But I'm not a huge electric type guy myself as well. The steel type is great. I like its stat line. It's just not for me. It's a bit goofy for me. I do like some goofy Pokemon, I will absolutely say. But I'm not a huge fan. I'm also usually not the biggest fan of the technology-esque Pokemon. You will see that kind of later, probably. Not in every case, I will say. But a lot of the more tech Pokemon, like tech-themed... Hell yeah. They're just not for me. So, I will say, very good Pokemon. Not one that I want to use. Essentially. It's a Pokemon that I would rather use a different Pokemon in most cases. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I absolutely get why people like it. But yeah. I can't remember what it was in Gen 1. Oh, yeah, I never really used it in Gen 1, which is where a lot of people love it from. I played Gen 1. I was never a big enjoyer of it. I'm gonna be honest. It's cool. It's cool, I guess. Fortress. Fortress. Do I dislike Fortress? Kinda. Okay. Oh yeah, we're actually in Gen 2 now, yeah. Fortress. I've never been the biggest fan of Fortress. I think it's fine. That's all I can really give it. I've never used it particularly. Well, I know I've used it a little bit, but I've never... I get what it does. It's a little tank ball, right? It does all the support stuff you expect. It's got spikes. It's a little hazard bastard that you store people with. It's good. It's very good. It's not really for me. I think its eyes look a bit weird. It's fine, but I prefer it to Diglett. I will absolutely say I prefer it to Alolan Diglett. But it's not a huge one for me. Also, it has the big problem. It's a bug steel type in a gen with Scizor. Gonna be honest, that's a big one. That's a really big one for me. It's a very loud bug. But yeah, I'm not a huge Fortress enjoyer myself. But I don't think it's anything particularly, like, crazy bad with it. It's just, I would say I actively dislike it. A little bit more. Again, it has Steel-type advantage. And that's very good. But I'd rather use a different Pokemon. Here's another thing about it. Steelix, now. I have an interesting history with Steelix. If you had told me about a year ago, maybe a bit longer, I can't exactly remember when, that Steelix would get a good mark on this list, I would have told you, you're insane. I have never had fun with Steelix. I actively didn't like it. It always did awful. Oh, we're getting to it. It's awful. It's never done any work. It doesn't hit very hard at all. It dies instantly because it's got massive physical defense, no special defense whatsoever. It's slow. It doesn't work. Then, I think it was last year or maybe the year before, me and a bunch of friends did a monotype run in Pokemon MMO. And I got ground type. And on my team, I had a Steelix. And let me tell you, that specific Steelix changed my mind about Steelix on its own. It turns out, basically, for years, I'd been getting a very bad Steelix roll. I must have been. Because this Steelix put in so much work. It was an absolute tank of the highest degree. And this is in Kanto, where everything's a special attacker. In Pokemon MMO, at least. Kanto is, because it's got Gen 1 stuff, so many of the Pokemon are built for special attack. So it doesn't do crazy. And a lot of the Pokemon that Steelix would counter very well have special fire-type moves in their moveset because they know Kanto is hard countered by Steel. Right? Because there's so many poison types. But that particular Steelix completely changed my mind. And also, that Steelix and the Steelix I had in Pokerogue that was eventually a Mega Steelix, they did so much work. They were so good. So, Steelix went massively up in my estimations. And genuinely to the point where Steelix is going to get into A tier, and Mega Steelix is going to also be an A tier. I like normal Steelix's design a little bit more than Mega Steelix, I will say. Mega Steelix, phenomenal Pokemon as well, though. Do not get me wrong. It's another one, it gets better. Its ability actually works. Sand Force on Steelix is great. Why didn't they should have put Sand Rush on Garchomp, but Steelix, no, Sand Force works. Sand Force works really well on Mega Steelix, so I'm a big fan. But I also love Sheer Force Life Orb regular Steelix as well. There is a vibe there, and I very much like it. So Steelix, props from me. You're a great Pokemon. I genuinely like you now. You have convinced me over the years. I'm still not a huge Onyx guy. I'm going to be honest. Onyx is fine. I like its design. I hate how it works. Steelix, though, props to Steelix. You're not beating Galarian Meowth, but that's going to be a hard one to beat. So, fair. Now then. My OG Steel type. Sort of. I had a Scizor, I believe, in post-game Fire Red. Yeah. I love Scizor so much. People remember my original forays into competitive Pokemon back in UU. One of the absolute powerhouses on my team in competitive Pokemon for public showing. Not for my actual intro, because that was the Draft League, but of my playing online in Pokemon Showdown, Scizor was on my team. And Scizor was great. I love Technician Bullet Punch. Admittedly, you don't need it. That's all it does. But you don't need anything else, let's be honest. Scizor, I'm a big fan of Scizor. It's a very cool Pokemon. I love its type. I love its stats. I love what it does. I love its ability. I love its moveset. Beautiful Pokemon. Absolutely love the designs. So, like, look at that boy. He's a fantastic. Red, my favorite color, as everybody knows. Scizor, you're getting up there, buddy. You are an S tier Pokemon without question. And you beat out Berserker. Berserker's great. I like using Scizor even more. That's generally it is. I love both of these Pokemon. Scizor is great. Scizor's great Pokemon. I should say, it's my original, sort of. Also, Mega Scizor, I really like it. I don't like it as much, but that's because I've never used it. I do really like its design, so I'm going to put it in S tier, but I'm going to put it lower in S tier. It might change my mind when ZA comes out, because genuinely, I'm kind of considering using a Scizor in that game. But yeah, Scizor is phenomenal, and I absolutely love it. And Mega Scizor, again, I love it. It just Scizor, but better. That's all it is. But it's getting a little lower on the tier list because I slightly prefer normal Scizor's design. Overall, I do love the sharpened pincers. I think that's great. I just like the legs a little bit more, and the poses isn't as great. Like, it looks a bit more like T-posy, whereas normal Scizor, you can imagine that thing moving. And that's always what I've had. I'm a big fan of Scyther as well, so that's also big props. And Scizor was really fun to use in Pokemon Unite as well, so it's always good. Skarmory. Skarmory, I really like Skarmory. Weirdly enough, I didn't know for years that Skarmory was a Gen 2 Pokemon. I thought it was Gen 3. For a very long time. I really like Skarmory. Skarmory is a very good Pokemon. It's got an amazing stat line. Really good typing. One of the best typings. And one of my favorite typings, I will say. Steel Flying is one of my favorite typings in the entirety of Pokemon to use. It's so good. It is so good. It's one of the best typings in Pokemon as well, just outright. It's famously one of the best. And Skarmory is great. I really like it. Hey, Karash! Yeah, I also had a good time with G-Max Charizard. And yeah, Mega Alakazam, as I said, Mega Alakazam's great. So, congratulations. Yeah, Skarmory is a phenomenal Pokemon, though. I really like it. I'm not usually a huge fan of how it works in the game, but it is very, very good. How you usually run it is very hazardy and things like that. Which I'm not a huge user of, but it is very good, and I genuinely wish it was lower tier in Pokemon. I kind of... Skarmory is a Pokemon that I wish was in UU back when I started doing competitive Pokemon, because I really would have loved the Steel Flying type on the team. Unfortunately, Steel Flying type is so good that just the type combination on its own bumps a Pokemon up a tier. It could be the worst Pokemon ever, but if it's got that combo, it's immediately good. But yeah, Skarmory, the one problem I have with Skarmory, and this genuinely is the one big problem, it's gone down in my favor over the years. Anybody that really knows me will know why Skarmory has gone down in my favor over the years. But it's still great, and I still love it. You're just not as good as it was. So you are going to be a very, very high and comfy B tier. Yeah, exactly. It's weird, that, isn't it? Yeah, Hariyama, no defensive stats whatsoever, but a massive health pool. More than makes up for it. So if you stack up his defense... Also, I love Hariyama's abilities, by the way. Hariyama are some of the best abilities. I think it's Sheer Force, Guts, and... I remember the other one. I know it's got Sheer Force or Guts, and those two abilities are great on their own. Mawile. Now, I did say that Scizor was my original Steel type, right? Technically, my first ever caught Steel type, chronologically, as a child, was Mawile. And then they made Mawile even better. Mawile, I have a soft spot for you. I have always had a soft spot for Mawile. I really like its design. It's very cute. I love the big chompy jaws. It's great. It's a really bad Pokemon to use, but I have a soft spot for you. So you're going in A tier, because I love Mawile. I've wanted to make Mawile work so hard for so long. And then they made Mega Mawile. And the Mega Mawile also came in when they added Fairy type. And let me tell you, Mega Mawile, comfortably my favorite huge power Pokemon in existence. I love Mega Mawile so much. I really want to use it in Pokerogue. I haven't gotten it. Every time I've gotten a Mawile, I haven't gotten a Mega Stone or whatever. The order has ended. I love Mega Mawile so much. It's a great, great, great Pokemon. And it makes like a Pokemon that deserves love, because Mawile's a great design. It deserved love, they gave it love. Mega Mawile, you're hitting S-tier. You're beating Scizor. I love Mega Mawile. This has a very, very, very good chance of when I do, Legend ZA, when I buy that for Pokemon, for my Switch, when it comes out, there is an insanely good chance that Mega Mawile is my Mega Pokemon. Genuinely. They will have to pull some real great ones out of there. Mostly because Mega Garchomp's bad. Normal Garchomp is better. But yeah, Mega Mawile is a brilliant idea for a Pokemon, how it works. It's also one of the strongest Megas, I'm pretty sure, of the ones that aren't just banned, like Rayquaza and Mewtwo. Also, it's got the same vibe as Mega Gyarados, where you send it in, it uses Intimidate, and then you Revolve it after the Intimidate has already gone off. So it gets this huge power, so it gets the benefits of both abilities, which I think is a really, really good idea and good design. So yeah. Now, again, Mawile was my first caught Steel type. That is a hard question. My least favorite type? Probably, though, if I have to give you a casual guess now, probably Electric type. Now, I will say, Electric type has some hits. My god, does it have some hits. But the vast majority of Electric types, I don't like. Genuinely. It's going to be interesting looking at the tier list when I get to Electric types, because there's a lot of it I really love. And the hits in Electric type, as I say, the hits of like this Vikavolt, Raging Bolt, Raikou, Galvantula. There's a lot of really, really good ones. And then there's a lot of shite. And I almost never use Electric types in a run. I will say. I almost never use them. In my original playthrough of a game, I will almost never use an electric type. So, yeah. I even tried in freaking Pokemon Ultra Sun, and then I ended up, because of the evolution thing in that game where you can't use electric stone. Yeah, Luxray is cool, but it's bad. Like, it's not a great Pokemon. It needs a Mega. Luxray needs a Mega real bad. And yeah, Luxray is one of the better electric types for me, in terms of actually how much I like it. But there's so much crap in the electric types that, yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But yeah, we'll get to them eventually, when I can shit on electric types. But yes, so, yes, as I was saying, Mawile was my first ever caught steel type. But would you like me to tell you the first steel type I ever beat an Elite Four with, and one of my favorite Pokemon of all time? I love it. Until very recently, my favorite steel type. Ever. Genuinely. Very, very recent was this evolution line beaten. And also, I remember, I was a child. I didn't know what the final evolution was going to look like. And my god, was I knocked out of the park with how it design looked. I think Aron is one of the cutest Pokemon ever made. Genuinely. Aron, you're immediate S tier. You are cute beyond imaginings of cute. Before Gibble, I would comfortably say that Aron would have been like my favorite Pokemon that could be a starter that isn't of a type that normally is a starter. I love Aron so much. I think it's so cute. I love how it works. I love its stat line as well, genuinely. Larion loses a bit. I'm not a huge fan of Larion's design, but it's good. It's still very, very good, and I do like the plated kind of design. It's great. But then indeed, my boy, my original steel type, one of my favorite Pokemon ever. I love Aggron. I have genuinely had Aggron be my starter before. If anyone remembers my Poke MMO Sinnoh playthrough, I believe it was, I had... Actually, no, was it Sinnoh? No, it was Gen 5. It was Unova. I believe in Unova, I genuinely had my starter be an Aron. In one of the regions. I think it was Unova. I had my starter be Aron. I had such a good time with it. Aggron is such a phenomenal Pokemon. I absolutely love it. I know it's got, though, a very bad type combo. Steel and Rock is not a good combo. But I can't help but love it. Come on, look at him. I love using Rockhead Aggron so much. Like, I originally used it a while ago. Like, it was one of my favorites back in the day. I still love using it, and I really wish it was in Gen 9, but it's sadly not. But Aggron will always hold a special place in my heart as just an absolute all-star, and genuinely one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Genuinely. I actually believe that when I did a little random tier list with my friends, of just picking our favorite Pokemon of each type, I believe Aggron got Steel type because I moved my favorite to a different type. Genuinely. I think that's how we managed to do it. I believe actually when I did my favorites of each gen, of every type in every gen, I believe Aggron might definitely hit Steel types for Gen 3. I love it. And Mega Aggron, while I prefer the design of normal Aggron, I still love it, and it's one of my favorite Megas. You might go behind... They literally just made Aggron better. If Mega Aggron, ability-wise and, like, type-wise, if Mega Aggron was the original, I would have been very happy. Design-wise, though, normal Aggron beats it out, and I will have a soft spot. But they also, Mega Aggron does a different job to how I use normal Aggron, I'm gonna be honest. How everyone normally uses Aggron is Mega Aggron. But normal Aggron, I absolutely adore. Yeah, it's peak. It's one of the best designs ever. Genuinely, I fucking love it. Now, well, I say my first ever Steel type to beat the Elite Four with, kind of disingenuous, I believe. Though I believe it technically was, but back in the day, my final Pokemon team for Generation 3 had 2 Steel types on it. Because I love Metagross. Come on. Are you kidding me? Metagross is an amazing Pokemon. I think genuinely it's not even a cop. You knew it was going to be on here. I like Metagross more. Get the fuck down here, you prick. Where did I leave him? There he is. There you go. Metagross! One of my favorite Pokemon of all time. A phenomenal Steel type. An absolute tank of a tank of a tank of a tank. I love him. I was so happy when he came out in Scarvi's DLC again. Genuinely, he was one of the big selling points for the DLC for me. In all honesty. I absolutely love him. In absolute honesty, I fucking adore the Pokemon. He's so fun to use. He's such a beast. He's fucking broken in some of the old games as well. Like, if you go back and play him before Fairy type was added, back when he had pretty much one weakness, I think. Did he actually have anything super effective against him? I think he did. Yeah, and then you got the Mega as well. I will say, Mega Metagross, I prefer normal Metagross's design, and I prefer Mega Mawile as a Mega, purely because Metagross didn't fucking need it. But I still really, really love it. I still love it, but Mawile needed the Mega, Metagross didn't. And I prefer the normal look for Metagross, personally. The beard doesn't really do it for me on Mega Metagross as much. For reference, look at what it's beating. Right. It's a great Pokemon, and I absolutely love it. But normal Metagross is cooler, for me, personally. I absolutely adore Metagross. There's not really much else I can say. That was it, yeah. It was weak to Fire and Ground, originally. That was it. Back in the day, it used to only be weak to Fire and Ground, and take Water as neutral, and that was it. Everything else it was resistant to. Then they changed Steel type when they added Fairy, removed Ghost and Dark from its resistance pool. Oh no, it took Fighting as neutral as well, because Steel was weak to Fighting, but Psychic resisted it. Yeah, so we had like 2 types it was neutral to, 2 types it was super effective, and everything else it resisted. Oh, it was resisted Bug as well. It had like a few types, but it was a very, very, very powerful Pokemon. Then they changed Steel type to no longer resist Ghost and Dark, which gave it a lot more weaknesses. I made it a lot more balanced, honestly. But they gave Metagross, because Metagross is a very, very powerful Steel type, it got some bonus offense. Because it now works on Fairy types as well, which makes it a little even better. So, I love Metagross. Unfortunately, I will say, out of the non draconic pseudo-legendaries, it is my second favorite. But that's because I really like Tyranitar, guys. Come on. I love Tyranitar. But Metagross is very often on my team as well. I really, 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 really like Metagross. He's always been a solid one. I really like him. Yeah. If I had to make a UU team outright, there's a very good chance Metagross is on it. He might get cut off of the team, though, is the problem. If I had to make, like, an All-Stars team, Metagross would be in consideration, but genuinely might get cut off the team just because I need some non-weaknesses to ground, guys. Unfortunately, I have a bad habit of making liking a lot of Pokemon that apparently are really weak to ground types. But I love Metagross. Again, phenomenal Pokemon, has done me so much good in various games. Also, people sleep on Clear Body. Clear Body is Metagross's ability. I think Clear Body is way better than anyone gives it credit for. Genuinely. It's actually one of my favorite abilities in Pokemon. I love not being affected by weaknesses. Like, not getting stat downs. It's so good. Sorry, I needed to finish my drink quickly because I just got to give it a protein shake again. And I want to drink it while it's cold. Okay. Registeel. I genuinely like Registeel a lot. People sleep on it. I have had some fun with Registeel over the years. I genuinely like it. I like its massive defenses. It's got clear body again, which I always say. Clear body's a great ability. Yeah. Excuse me. Love the Pokemon. I've always had a soft spot for Registeel. It was my favorite of the original 3 Regis. Yeah, I think it's my second favorite Reggie overall. Regirock is a close competitor with it though. Regidrago beats them both. For vibes and style and things, but I really like Registeel again. Probably a comfy A tier, like maybe above Larian. I genuinely like it. I've used it to some disgusting effects as well in competitive. In like some low ranks, you could do some work with it. Now then. Sorry, this is tasty. I need it. So, back a while ago, it has been said that I did some horrible things to people on Pokemon Showdown. Right? One of those horrible things I did to people. Hey, I know a lot of people that love Empoleon. Empoleon is getting a solid rank for me. He's not getting an S tier, I'm sorry guys. But we'll get to him. But he's very good. So he's getting a good mark, don't worry. Don't wait a few minutes. Let me gush and be nostalgic. One of the things that I've been called a bastard for is my use of Jirachi with a Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf Jirachi is always on my list of to be considered Pokemon. I love it. I love it so fucking much to use. It's brutal. Serene Grace Choice Scarf Stab Ironhead is... You're not allowed to play the game anymore, the Pokemon. I love Jirachi. Jirachi, you're getting an S tier. Yeah, Jirachi is getting S tier. Ahead of Mega Metagross. I think Jirachi is incredibly cute. Big point in its favor. I think it's a very, very cute Pokemon. I love its design. I love its vibe. I love it's the wishing Pokemon, which I always thought, that's kind of cool. It's a steel type that has this kind of design. It's like, oh, you can see it, right? It's like gilded gold looking colors. It's a great Pokemon. I absolutely love it. And I've done some disgusting things with it in the past. So yeah. Jirachi, amazing Pokemon. Absolutely. One of my favorite mythics. Not my favorite mythic, but one of them. And it's a very comfy spot. It's a solid S tier. One of the cutest Pokemon ever made as well. I will fully say that. Now Empoleon. I know so many people who adore Empoleon. And I get it. Now, personally, I am a Torterra user in Gen 4. I've talked about this before. And I actively dislike Infernape. Right? Empoleon is very cool. I will 100% go. It is very cool. It's a beautiful design. I love that they changed its ability now to competitive as well. Competitive is really cool on that Pokemon. It's really good. It's the only water steel type in existence, which boggles the brain. Like, it should be a common typing to me. But no, like 5,000 fucking water Pokemon, we only get one water steel type. What the fuck, guys? But it's a very good one. Yeah, pretty much. Infernape, I'm also not a monkey fan, personally. But yeah, Infernape came after Blaziken, and it's worse. Empoleon came after Swampert, and I'm gonna be honest, I like Empoleon more than Swampert. Mostly because an my childhood rival in Pokemon, their favourite Pokemon was Swampert, so I'm obliged to despise it on a fundamental level. But it's always a good time, and they were a fantastic friend of mine. I haven't spoken to them in years, but... Exactly. If it was a later gen or not a starter, it would have been way better. But yeah, Empoleon, fantastic Pokemon. You are getting a spot, I'd say, high B. It's not a me Pokemon. Full credit to Empoleon. He's great. He's not for me. Personally. But it's a great Pokemon. A fantastic design. Same as Skarmory, right? It's a great one, and people love it with Empoleon. It's a phenomenal one. It's just not really for me. But I have to say, fantastic Pokemon. Fantastic Pokemon. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Shieldon, personally. You don't like Skarmory? Oh, fair. That's fair. There's better than Skarmory. As I say, we'll get to why Skarmory fell off for me in the future. But yeah, for now, yeah, Shieldon. I have very few strong feelings about Shieldon. It's fine. That's all I can really go. It's fine. No huge fan. Now Bastiodon, it just looks a bit weird to me. Bastiodon's pretty cool. I'll put it in a B tier. Now I will 100% say the reason that Bastiodon is in B tier and not in a lower tier is that very specifically in Scarlet and Violet it gets body press. Why it didn't have body press to begin with, I will never be able to tell you. It should have been part of its base moveset. But Bastiodon can do some work. It's a fun time. Body press Bastiodon is a great laugh to use as well. So I 100% go, I get it on Bastiodon. Also, it's a fossil Pokemon. Fossil Pokemon are cool. Pluses for that. It was one of the worst fossil Pokemon, but Mega Bastiodon would be really cool. Honestly, I prefer Mega Tyrantrum, but Mega Bastiodon would also be a very cool one. Give us Mega Tyrantrum first, though. Yeah, I am a quite an enjoyer of new Bastiodon. It loses out a bit to a few of the others, and it's kind of okay, but here's the bit. It's still a dinosaur fossil type, and I like that. Right? Any dinosaur is immediately getting some pluses from me. But yeah, B tier, very solid B tier. I'm okay with it. I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember the name of this Pokemon. Wormadam? It's Wormadam, right? Wormadam Steel. You are one of the most forgettable Pokemon, yeah, ever made. I forget that you're a Steel type. I forget what any of the versions of you are. I really like Wormadam. I'm going to be honest. It's extremely meh. So you're getting the lowest tier of D tier. You are extremely dented. I just don't like it. I just think it's fucking weird. It's one of the most forgettable Pokemon of all time. Not the most forgettable, but it's up there. Yeah, it's evolved Burmy. I have never been a big fan of Wormadam. Genuinely not. I don't have much to say about it. It is one of the Pokemon of all time. Is the best thing I can say about Wormadam. So, yeah. I'm not a fan, personally. But, hey, maybe someone likes it. Someone out in the world's gonna like it. But not me. Bronzor! I like Bronzor. I have a soft spot for you. I'd say Bronzor is a solid B. Same with Bronzong, actually. I put both of them in the same tier, right next to each other. I have a shiny one. Oh, yeah, also quad with fire. To be fair, Wormadam's typing is the same as Scizor. It's only weak to fire. Because Bug and Steel type is a very good combo. But yeah, Bronzor. Yeah, Steel Psychic is a good combo. There's a lot of just good combos with Steel. That's the thing. Steel type with a couple of exceptions of Rock and Ice works well with any Pokemon. Steel type, I also believe, is currently part of the best dual combo that exists. Which, yeah, it's Fairy Steel, I believe, is the best combo in the entirety of Pokemon. It's got good offense, good defense. It's got multiple immunities to the types that both of others are good against. It's great. Also, it's immune to Dragon, which is a big plus. It's immune to Dragon and immune to Poison, which is really, really good, because my god, are they powerful. I like Bronzong a lot. There is one in existence, Mega Altaria. There needs to be more. It's the dragon that hunts dragons. Is fairy dragon. It's the dragon that hunts dragons. If you make a really strong Pokemon that's consistently used for that, it'll be terrifying. Yeah, I love Bronzong. I like its design. I love its colors. Honestly, one of the big ones for it is its color scheme. It also reminds me of the freaking Maid, I believe it is, from the Jetsons. Or kind of reminds me of Nunu, I believe its name is, the fucking Hoover thing from Teletubbies growing up. So, yeah, I love Bronzong. I have a shiny Bronzong in Pokemon Scarlet. I literally logged into 5 minutes just to tell a friend what a Pokemon I had was. And I just saw one, like, over there. Because Paldea loves me and gives me all the shiny Pokemon in existence. I have so many shinies in that game, it's obscene. But yeah, genuinely, I have a soft spot for Bronzong. I will always go. It's never one that I will particularly go out of my way to use on the team. But it's one I'm never unhappy. Like, it's like, I'll use this until I get something that I like more. It's one of those ones. I will use it. And that on its own is a big praise for me in a Pokemon that's like, it's okay. Now, I'm about to make a lot of people real mad. Nah, not that mad, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Now, I will say, yeah, Lucario, it's not for me. I will fully 100% admit, this is why I said at the start, B tier is is used for amazing Pokemon that I am not the biggest user of. Lucario is, honestly, every time I've used Lucario in everything, 99% of the time, it has disappointed me. It's great. It's a very, very good Pokemon. I see why people love it. And it also has the Cynthia buff. It's on Cynthia's team, and it's a good Pokemon. It's got a good design. But it's not for me. I'm gonna be honest here. I also think that Mega Lucario is pretty cool. Is better. But I will fully say they are B tier. If you love them, I 100% get it. If it's your favorite Pokemon, I 100% get it. It's a great Pokemon. I really like it. Like, I like it. But it's not an A tier for me. Genuinely. It's probably the top of B tier. 100%. I'm not sure which Pokemon is going to take it off the top spot in B tier. There might be one, but I don't know. But yeah, it's just below A tier. It's close, but I'd probably give it top of B tier. It's a very good Pokemon. For me, it's got the problem that a lot of people have with Charizard. But with Charizard, it's a bit overdone. But here's the bit for me. Charizard is a starter. So they're supposed to be overdone. And, like, screamed about to the top of the lungs. That has always been, to me, a thing. Also, Charizard is basically the secondary mascot of Pokemon after Pikachu. So, I've always had well, yeah. Also, I love Charizard. It's my starter. But with Lucario, it felt it got a lot of its stuff for no real reason. Right? I do like it. It is a very cool Pokemon. It got weird abilities for no reason. Like, it can talk, apparently, in the anime and shit like that. It's a bit strange. It's great. Do not get me wrong. It is great. I will sing Lucario's praises. But it's not a, for me, Pokemon. It will be one that is regularly dropped on my teams. It is a one that I would use very early in a Pokemon run, because you can get it insanely early. But I would trade it out for something better. Again, like Bronzor and Bronzong, it's better than them. As I said, it's got a higher rank than them. But it's not for me. Also, I was very sad. It was the first Pokemon it was the first Mega Pokemon I used, because it forces you to use it in Pokemon X. Where I wanted my first Mega Evolved Pokemon to be my Mega Charizard X. So I was a little bit annoyed. But also, I got a Lucario out of it, and Mega Lucario is very good. Adaptability is an awesome ability. It's cool. It's a great Pokemon, but it's only B tier for me. Sorry, the Lucario fans that thought. To be honest, I don't know if anyone who watches me thought Lucario would be an S tier. It's cool. It is cool. The fox man is cool. It's a fox to me, not a wolf as well. I've seen a lot of people argue it's a wolf. To me, it's like a coyote. It looks more like a coyote, to be honest. Or a jackal, something like that. Honestly, I think that if they made a fighting dark type or fighting or steel dark type Lucario that was a regional variant of it, or ghost type or something like that, I think it would be very, very cool. I think they could go for a vibe with that. Yeah. One of the best in its, like, one of the most loved Pokemons to, I believe this one online is called Vinny. If you know, you know. No, Probopass. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I've never liked Probopass. Partially because I got swept by, back when I was a wee small child. I won, in my first ever run of Emerald, got swept by a Nosepass in, my very, very first run-through of Pokemon Emerald. My Torchic got hit with a rock and died. Turns out I was like one level. I was like a very underleveled. But I have a annoyance with that Pokemon. I've never particularly liked that line. I also think they kind of look dumb. Probopass is silly, and I've said I don't like silly. Really, it's strong. It's a pretty strong Pokemon considering the type, but I have never been a really big fan of it. So I'm putting you down here. You're better than Wormadam. That's all I can give you, is you're better than Wormadam. But, because at least Probopass is memorable. It's memorable entirely for its facial hair. But... also, would everyone agree with me? Probopass, if anyone's seen the movie Cloud of the Chance and Meatballs, Probopass is the ace Pokemon of the main character's dad. Groucho Marx the Pokemon. Kinda, yeah. It's the dad from Cloud of the Chance and Meatballs, like, as a Pokemon. It's... If you like it, sure. That's why I'll go with it. It's weird. Now then. We're back on the S tier train. I'm gonna be honest. Everyone knew they'd be here. Literally everybody knew they'd be here. Dialga, one of my... Oh, I love it. I love Dialga. Such a phenomenal design. Phenomenal Pokemon. I love it. I prefer Diamond to Pearl as well. As anyone saw in my Dragon tier list, Dialga massively outweighs Palkia for me, personally. I like both of them, but Dialga's always been my boy for those ones. I really like it. The original Dragon Steel type. Oh yeah, I also know you prefer Palkia. But hey, I am a Gamer A type player, usually. I will pick the first one. I love Dialga so much. Dialga's great. So, Dialga, you're not beating Aggron for me personally, but I will put you above Aron. And that is a place of honor on the Steel-type tier list. I love it. Phenomenal design, phenomenal Pokemon. Absolutely brilliant. Origin Dialga is also up here. I'll probably put you here. Not as much as Jirachi. I really like it. It doesn't change. It is one of the better Origin forms, I will fully say. I think Giratina Origin does outweigh it for me personally. But I do think that unlike Origin Palkia, Origin Dialga is actually, like, I can see it. How do I unlock Dialga? You'd say it's a legendary egg. Dialga is a legendary egg. For the Origin form, I believe you have to have Dialga. Yeah, I believe you have to have Dialga in your party. And I think one of the legendary items you can get in that is the Adamant Orb. And I believe the Adamant Orb, give that to Dialga. And he will evolve. Or he will form change. It's like a Mega. Yeah. It's like a Mega Stone, basically. I believe that's how all of them work. So I got the... I'm assuming that because that's how I got Kyurem to turn into Kyurem Black. Oh, I'm jealous of that. I have a normal Dialga. which I am very happy with. But Shiny Dialga's great. But yeah, what can I say? I love Dialga. Easy Bake! Easy Bake! Oh, my Steel type, my beloved Steel type, Easy Bake. Genuinely, Heatran, I've talked about this before, Heatran was on my team, my original competitive team in our Pokemon Draft League. I was very happy to pick it up. It did so much work. It was one of the heavy lifters. I absolutely love her. Easy Bake, I'm going to be honest, purely out of, I have used this more and had a lot of fun using it, and my god, does it just work for me. Heatran, you're beating Dialga. I'm sorry, Dialga, you're my boy, but Heatran is so good, and I really like using it. It's the only Fire Steel type in existence as well. But yeah, I love the Pokemon so much. It did so much work for me. I can't not love it. Genuinely. Heatran was an easy pick for me. I also feel less guilty about using a Heatran compared to a Dialga, because while Heatran is, yeah, it's a legendary. It's a 600 base stat total legend. It's a mythic, I believe, technically. I love Heatran so much. Fire Steel is a really cool type combo as well. It's one that I think needs some more love. But yeah, Easy Bake the Heatran. Love you, girl. You're great. Arceus, we've already talked about this. Arceus is cool. Just A tier. Go here. Sure, why not? Excadrill, I'm gonna be honest, I've never really been a big fan of Excadrill. Its power I like. It's a very, very strong Pokemon, but I don't really like it. The reason Arceus is here, Arceus, you give him plate, he turns into that type. He is literally on every single one. He was on the fire tier list as well. Just not every tier list includes him, but I'm not going to leave him off the bottom because he's there. I basically said the other week when Arceus turned up during the Fire-type tier list, I don't dislike any Arceus more than any of the other versions of him. He's fine. But he's just there. Like, he's going to sit comfortably in, like, the middle of A tier pretty much forever in every single type. He's just cool, right? No, because Ditto turns into the other Pokemon. Arceus specifically changes just type. And it changes a couple of the moves, how the moves work. But it's still the same Pokemon. It's like, Ogerpon. With the different masks. Works kind of like that. It basically is the same Pokemon every single time. But it just changes Judgment, I believe. It changes how Judgment works. It changes how Stab works. And it's, just what its immunities are, because it turns into a pure of that type. Yeah. And it's nothing crazy. Silverly does the same thing, and Silverly is also on this list. So. But yeah, I'm not a huge Excadrill guy. It's a really strong Pokemon. I love what it represents. I love that it's the ace of a couple of players. But yeah, I didn't beat it. You're cool. You're cool. I like its power, but I'm not a huge fan of it personally. There's a lot cooler. I don't like its design. That's the main one for Excadrill. I don't like its design. It's a little silly. But now going from a I don't like its design to a really like its design, I need to remember the name of this one because I always forget. I believe it's Excavalier. Yeah. Excavalier. Love this Pokemon. This Pokemon's design is sick. I love what it does. It's an absolute... I didn't realize until my original playthrough of Unova in Pokemon Mo. I didn't realize how good this thing was. It's slow as dirt, but every other stat on it is cracked. Well, obviously apart from special attack, but it doesn't fucking need it. Yeah, I love how the evolutions work. It always confuses me which one is which. Gotta be honest. But it's a really, really cool Pokemon. I really like it. It's awesome. It's powerful. It's got a phenomenal design. Escavalier, go into A tier. I actively like you. You are a cool Pokemon, and I am never upset to use you on a team. bitch to evolve. Like, I like how it evolves, but it is a bit of a pain in the ass. Yeah. And it's cool. It's a cool Pokemon. So, absolutely. Now, Ferrothorn. I'm gonna be honest. Ferrothorn, I'm not a huge fan of. Hey! Nice. I also have Registeel from an egg. It's a good one. It's a good Pokemon. Absolute war. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Ferroseed. To me, I can't... Literally, it happened in the Pokemon... Honest Trailers Pokemon for the gen. And I can't unsee it. Ferrothorn looks... No, Ferroseed looks like the world's worst kidney stone. I am not a fan. It's going into C tier. It's not bad. I like its color scheme. That puts up. Its type is insane as well. I also don't like that on our Draft League tier list, it's like 1 point. This thing should be like 3. It's way too powerful for what it is. So yeah. Ferrothorn, great Pokemon. I don't really like it. Oh, Ferroseed. Ferrothorn, however, I do very much like. I think it's a great idea for Pokemon. I know it's broken beyond imagining. It's how it works. You're probably getting above Steelix. I haven't used it, I will say. But I do think Ferrothorn is a really cool Pokemon, and I'm very excited to probably try it out at some point. I think it's great. I'm going to be honest with the next 3. This entire line is going indented. I have never been a fan of Clink Clang or Kling Clang. I think they're all very, very just about it. They exist. Actually, you know what? I'm putting Fortress above them. Fortress is not that bad. But yeah, I don't really like them. I never have. It's very rarely will I okay, so these ones I absolutely will say they kind of didn't cook. I know it's a good Pokemon. I just don't like it. Most of the time, like I will give almost every other Pokemon in the drought, which a lot of people said that they've started running out of ideas. I will give most of them the benefit of the doubt. This one, no, I don't like it. I just don't like it. Never have done, never will. It's just not good. Gear Grind's a great attack, for reference. It's a very, very good attack, and I believe that's the main thing about it. But... it's not great. It's not great. I am not a fan of it. That's what it is. Galarian Stunfisk. I'm gonna be honest, Galarian Stunfisk. You're getting bottom of B tier. You've earned it. Genuinely, yeah. Stunfisk is surprisingly good. Well, normal Stunfisk is pretty bad. Very high defense. And a weird typing that it... So, here's the thing. Normal Stunfisk is electric ground type with the ability that makes it can't be paralyzed. An electric ground type, that electric types can't be paralyzed outright. Ground types are incredibly hard to paralyze. So, it's the nichest physically possible ability to give a Pokemon. It feels like they were meaning to give it to a water type. Or something else. Or they were going to make it like a water ground type. Give it immune to paralysis because they wanted to give it some electric shit. I don't get normal Stunfisk. Normal Stunfisk feels like they gave it like a rough going over on the last like they built the Pokemon and then like 5 minutes before the end. Yeah, like imagine on a Whiscash. Like that makes sense, right? Normal Stunfisk doesn't make sense. Galarian Stunfisk, I love that it's a bear trap. I'm gonna be honest. This is purely from vibes. I like it as a bear trap. It's not getting higher than B tier because I'd never be caught dead using one. But I'm gonna be honest, it's cool. A bear trap is a cool idea for a Pokemon. I will fully say that. So, yeah, they cooked on it. So, yeah, B tier, low B tier, but still on B tier. I like you. I like you, Galarian Stunfisk. You're pretty cool. Now, are you ready for another section of S tiers? I'm gonna be perfectly honest here. Pawniard, A tier. Actually, no, yeah, Pawniard, A tier, just behind Mawile. I do like Pawniard quite a bit. It's a very cool Pokemon, and it's very cute, and I like its vibe. I like the knife's vibe. Bishop, another A tier. Genuinely. I like it a lot. Bishop is a very cool Pokemon. But, for me, it always lacked that special something. Shut up, Errol. Bishop always missed just something, you know? Back in the day, I couldn't tell you what it was. It's a very cool Pokemon. I thought it was a sick design. It was cool, right? But I could not genuinely tell you what it was that was like, it's missing something, you know? It could be cooler. And then they brought out King Gambit. And I will tell you for a fact, King Gambit was what Bishop was needing. I love King Gambit. You're going above Origin Dialga. I love that Pokemon. It's so cool. It's sick as hell. It's an absolute powerhouse. I love its vibe. It's a tanky, high damage Pokemon. It's really slow, but it gets priority. It sits in the back. Supreme Overlord is such a cool ability. Like, massively boosts its power the more of your team that's died. It's your finisher. It's a great Pokemon. I absolutely love it. It absolutely should have been the original Ace Pokemon for Geeta. And she does use it as her Ace Pokemon for reference in the final tournament post-game. Because King Gambit is like an end of team Pokemon. It makes a perfect Ace. Whereas her opening Pokemon, which is... what's its name? Toxic Ball. Fuck, I've forgotten its name. Oh, Glamora. Glamora is a fantastic opener. King Gambit is a fantastic closer Pokemon. It's really, really cool, and I'm a big fan of it. The only reason it's not is because there already is a Steel-type trainer earlier on in it. And a Dark-type trainer, so it was obviously not going to have those two. It be the Ace, so... because they had to show off every single Terra-type, and Glamora is a Rock-type, so... yeah. And it shows the final biome of the game. It's fine. But... King Gambit's an amazing fucking Pokemon. Hey! Yes, Corviknight's great. You'll see later. There he is. There he is actually at the bottom of the screen at the moment. But yeah, King Gambit is an absolute powerhouse. I absolutely love it. That's all I can really say. It's another one of those, like Metagross, it's always a consideration on my teams. It's always on the table to use because I really like it. I really like Dark-type as well. Dark-type is actually next week on my tier lists. King Gambit is a beautifully done Pokemon, and I can't give it a single complaint. I love the Shogun vibe as well for it. It really works. Yeah, King Gambit was what Bishop needed to really take it to that top tier of Pokemon. Durant! Arrow! Sorry, he's just being loud for the sake of being loud. He doesn't actually want anything. I know you don't, because you've been fed, you've been let out, you've gone to have a rest, and you've just woken up out of nowhere and just started yowling. I know you are. I know you're okay. I checked on you earlier. You are fine. Same with you. See, Ninja's being quiet. Ninja's just over there being very quiet. But yeah, I really like Durant. I'm going to be honest. I have a soft spot for this Pokemon. I always thought this Pokemon was kind of cool. It has the Unova bug types thing going on as well. And Unova, I will say 100% has some of the best bug types ever made. Durant is great. I really love it. I love its stat line. Don't know why it's so fucking fast. Like, my god, the thing's faster than Garchomp. It is another quad weak to fire. But again, it's quad weak to fire. I'm not weak to anything that's not fire. Which equal... okay. Do you want to go outside? Is that it? Give me a second, guys. The guy just wants to be a little bastard. What is it, Errol? Do you just want to go out? If you want attention, I can't give it at the moment because I am literally working. Hey, boy. Off you go. Go on. It's raining. Don't start. It's because it's raining outside, Ninja, and you hate it. Exactly. Pet problems. But yeah, I really like Durant. Genuinely, the Unova bug types are just cracked. I'm really looking forward to getting to the bug type tier list, and like half of Unova is in the S tier. Because it genuinely might be. Unova has some of the best bugs ever. Unova is where they decided bug types are cool. Genuinely. There are some good bug types from earlier gens, but let's face it, Gen 5 really, really cranked the table up. It's Beedrill. Beedrill's great. And there's Scizor as well, who's great. Pinsir's pretty decent. Heracross, pretty decent. And then they hit the accelerator when they go to Gen 5 because they're like, cool, so you know all these Pokemon that are pretty good? Here's Volcarona. Okay, Cobalion, it's my favorite. It's my second favorite of the Swords of Justice. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like the Swords of Justice, so you go in here. You're fine, I guess. I like the Musketeers more than the Pokemon, I'll put it that way. Yeah, Mega Pinsir's great. That is generally a thing. I like the legend of I like the stories of the Three Musketeers more than I like their Pokemon counterparts. Now, I will say Terrakian's pretty cool. Terrakian is my favorite of the Swords of Justice. And Iron Boulder's my favorite of the Paradox versions. But Genesect is a mythical. Pseudo-legendaries are characterized by 600 base stat total and evolution. They are normal-ish Pokemon. As long as it has an evolution and is a regular Pokemon with an evolution, and the final form is a 600 base stat total, it's a pseudo-legendary. So the ones are Dragonite, Tyranitar, Metagross Salamence, Garchomp, Hydreigon, Goodra, Hisuian Goodra, Kommo-o, Dragapult, Baxcalibur, and Archaludon are the pseudo-legendaries. If it's a 600 base stat total and isn't one of those, it's not. Yeah, pseudo is the dragons, usually. There's a reason why it's called pseudo-legendary dragons in most cases. 2 of them aren't dragons. But hey, Dragon type's the best Pokemon, so of course there's a lot of pseudos. They're also, remember, called pseudo-legendary. And what is more legendary than a dragon, right? But yeah, Genesect, I kind of dig Genesect. I'm not the biggest fan of it overall. There's a lot worse. But there's also a lot better. So, Genesect, I'll put you above Cobalion. That's a good spot for it. Really quick. Yeah. It's a cool Pokemon. I love the Metal Gear. I'm gonna be honest. It's cool. But I've never used it. It could definitely go to a higher rank if I enjoy using it. But I've never used it. I don't know what its stats are. I vaguely know its vibe is like you give it a plate, like you give it the plates that you give it Arceus as well, and it changes stuff. But I've never been a real, like, big user, right? Big user of it. It's cool. I know it's Steel Bug as well, which is great typing. But it's never been one for me. Again, it's good. It's not one for me. Honedge, Doublade, and Ceruledge. I'm going to be honest. I'm fairly sure. Oh, yeah. I'm fairly sure you guys are just going to be sitting next to each other the entire time. And I'm pretty sure I know where you're going to go. Honedge, Doublade is here. I do prefer Honedge's design to Doublade, I'm gonna be honest. And Aegis Slash. I like the shield form more, I'm gonna be honest. Very comfy A tier. I don't think there's anything really I can say about them. I think they're very cool Pokemon. I like the lot of them. They're not gonna get higher in A tier. Because I look at the A tier. The other Pokemon that I like more. But they're really cool. I like their vibes. I like their abilities. They're really cool. Aegislash is great. I love its form change thing. I love the stance change where it gets massive defense or massive offense. I think it's a really cool idea for a Pokemon. And I'm a hype about it. I love the possessed sword gimmick. It's cool. It's really, really cool. I also believe this Pokemon is the ace of the Steel Elite Four member from X and Y, which is such a good touch if it is. I'm not 100% on it is, but I think it is, and it's like, oh, it's great. It's a cool vibe. I really like it. So, yeah. Hisuian, Sliggering, Hisuian, Goodra, you know exactly where you're going. You're going in S tier, a little bit behind Scizor. I prefer Scizor a bit more. But I love these Pokemon. I like Goodra baseline a lot. I already have talked about it before. But Hisuian Goodra was really needed to bring it just that little bit better. Yeah, everyone knows. I love my dragons. I love Steel Dragon type as a type combo as well. It's one of the best in Pokemon. It's quite often a choice I will regularly use. And I love Goodra. I genuinely love Goodra, and Hisuian Goodra is just Goodra, but better. What can I say? It is. It's a great Pokemon that I absolutely love using. It's just a winner. It goes hard. Now, Klefki. I don't know where I'm putting Klefki. Again, I gushed about Goodra already a lot in the Dragon-type tier list, so... Ninja just started yowling, because the door opened. Okay. Klefki is... Okay, so Klefki is definitely my least favorite of the Fairy Steel types. I will 100% say that. I'm not the biggest fan of its design. Sorry, guys. You can't see what's happening, but... So, reference. Ninja is currently standing on my mum's shoulders because she climbed... My mum picked her up, and then she started climbing. She is a weird cat. I'm sad that could be caught on stream. It's fine. But yeah, Klefki. Klefki's kind of cool, but I wouldn't give it like a I love it vibe. I'd say maybe here. It's a weird place to put it. Yeah, it could need evolution. I don't know what it needs. It's another one, it needs something, but I don't know what. I don't know what the fuck Klefki needs, but it does need something. It's a very, very good Pokemon. I will fully say, Klefki is a very good Pokemon. It's weird. It's very weird. I honestly think, I don't think it needs an evolution. I think if you gave it a regional form, just had more keys. Not a bottle opener, that's what you got on the keys. Right, that's what I have on my keys. Nah. Yeah, Klefki is just a weird one for me. I think it could do with a regional form. If you have a regional form of Klefki, I think that would be very cool. But it's such a bizarre Pokemon that I don't really know where to put it for other stuff. It's cool. I love what you can do with it as well. Like, I love the Toxic Orb with Prankster vibes. You can give it, like, Lagging Tail Prankster. It's very cool. It's fucking bizarre, though. Silverleaf's cool. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a crazy huge fan. I really like there. Right, it's baby Arceus. What can I say? It's directly below Arceus on the list. I didn't realize that. It's cool. It's fine. Togedemaru. Okay. Now I'll say, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of electric types overall. Togedemaru's fine. It's one of the cooler. You hate this thing. I don't particularly hate it. I'm not a huge fan of it. But I don't hate it, really. it's a fine Pokemon. I'd say I like it more than I hate it. I like that it's a hedgehog. I do like that it's a hedgehog because I'm a big fan of hedgehogs. Never keep a hedgehog as a pet, by the way. Their shit is the worst smelling things ever. Take it from the person that used to work in a pet shop. It smells worse than skunk spray. Genuinely. It's the worst smell you can imagine. It makes your eyes burn. But Togedemaru, it's fine. It's inoffensive. I'd say above Klefki. Right. Every game has one. I believe Togedemaru is in a game that has two. It's just one of them is way cooler than Pikachu. Not Togedemaru, for reference. Togedemaru is fine. I'm not a huge Pikachu guy either, to be honest. But, it's cute enough. It's fine. I'd say B tier. If you like it, I get it. I like this get spiky shield as well. That's kind of cool. And iron barbs. It's fun. It's got its plus sides. When those plus sides make it out of C tier. But I wouldn't put it any higher than that. Now then, Solgaleo. I like Solgaleo a lot. I'm gonna be honest. Solgaleo is a very cool Pokemon. Now, I will say, I do prefer Lunala. I prefer Lunala out of the pair. But I think that they're both very, very, very cool legendaries and very good box arts. So, I like Solgaleo a lot, and it's getting a good mark. Solgaleo, you're going... I'd say Solgaleo is going between the two Goodras. Between Goodra and Sliggoo. I'd say that's a good spot. I really like it. For me, Solgaleo is a great Pokemon. It's just up against one of the best legendaries of all time, in my personal opinion. I love Lunala, and Lunala is one of my favorite legendaries of all time. I think I've said before, I think Lunala is my favorite legendary Pokemon that isn't a dragon. It's between it and Zacian. Who we're coming to on this list, by the way. We're getting close to Zacian. So yeah. Solgaleo is an amazing Pokemon. I really like it. I actually am playing Pokemon Ultra Sun at the moment, which is another plus for it. So yeah, it's great, and I really, really like it. Now then. Okay. So, Celesteela. I love Celesteela a lot. I love everything about it. I love that it's a rocket ship. I love that it's an anime girl, which is really weird to say that thing is an anime girl, but it is. If you actually look at its design carefully, it's like a girl-looking thing. I love the rocket ships. I just love this Pokemon. I love its typing as well. It's another fair steel flying type, which is great. I'm planning on picking this up for my challenger team in the I don't want to answer this. I feel I need these nuts thing is joke is coming. But I fucking love Celesteela. I really like Celesteela so much. I think it's great. I love it. You're getting a great mark. I think Celesteela is going to get a higher rank than Origin Dialga, but I can't really put it above King Gambit. I'd say would be my point for it. It's great, and I absolutely love the Pokemon, though. Oh, I literally didn't read the first one. I just thought it was I saw Pikachu and thought it was Pikachu coming up. No, yeah. Rhydon is the original design Pokemon. You can actually tell if you look at it, honestly. Like, it exemplifies everything that a Pokemon is. Rhydon's the original Pokemon. Yes, the first ever designed. It was the pitch. Which I think is great. Pikachu's just the mascot. Rhydon's the OG. Which also comes up with the very funny conundrum for £1 million. Which is the first Pokemon? Bulbasaur, Rhydon, Mew, Arceus. Yeah. It is Substitute, which is Rhydon. Which is very cool. Good bit of lore, that. Yeah, I've used that one before. Cortana. Exactly. That's the reason why it's the 1 million, isn't it? Because all of them are technically the first. Which is a bit of a cool bit for that. Because Bulbasaur is 0001. Mew is the DNA of all Pokemon, and it's the original. Arceus is literally God that created the Pokemon universe. And concept-wise, the original Pokemon, the first ever pitched one, was Rhydon. So... So it's an interesting conundrum, though. But yeah, I absolutely love Katana. I love the origami. I also love that this thing has one of the highest attack stats in the entirety of Pokemon. I think it's only beaten by Mega Mewtwo X. I want to check that. Okay, Kartana is the third highest attack stat of any Pokemon, and it's the highest non-Mega. The only Pokemon that beat it are Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Heracross. Everything else loses to it. Because it has one higher attack stat than Deoxys attack and Mega Rayquaza. And Primal Groudon, which all have 180. Kartana has 181 attack. It's obscene. I really like it. I think it's a really cool idea for Pokemon as well. Steel Grass is also a very fun typing. I like its offense. I just really like this Pokemon. I think it's cracked. So I'd say... I prefer Solgaleo to it, I think, though. But yeah. I'd say another one there. I really like it. Once again, Alola getting a good showing. In a lot of cases. I say, Alola's got some cracked Pokemon in it. All three Ultra Beasts on this list are all in there. Oh, actually, no, there's another Ultra Beast we haven't gotten to yet. But yeah. Now, Dusk Moon Necrozma. Dusk Necrozma. Lion Necrozma, if you will. I really like it. The problem with the Necrozmas, Duskmane and Dawnwings, I think, while they are very cool Pokemon, I do think they are a little bit worse than the original forms design-wise. They're really powerful. They actually lose out a lot of speed, which is an interesting thing to note, by the way. They're actually way tankier, but way slower than the original forms. But I do really like it. Dusk Necrozma is a very cool Pokemon. I'd say here. Another S tier. I really like the vibe, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I'd say that's a comfy spot for it. Not too high, but not bad at all. So, yeah. Dusk Necrozma is going to get a good mark from me. Because I think it's very cool. I like all the Uber modes of Necrozma, but my favourite by a lot is Ultra Necrozma. I like Dawnwings more than Duskmane, again, but I also like Lunala more than Solgaleo. So, it's going to be interesting when we get to Psychic, because I believe all of them are Psychic type. So, ranking the Necrozmas and things is going to be interesting at that point. Actually, yeah, I think the entire Alola Legendary list, I think all of them are Psychic type, so they're going to be interesting when we get to Psychic. Which I don't know when we're getting to Psychic for reference. It is a good type, and I do like it, but we've got a lot of things to go through first. Magearna. I do like Magearna a lot. I think it's a very cool Pokemon. How much do I like it, though? I do like it. I think it's neat. I love that its vibe changes on the things. I think A tier. Yeah. I think it's a solid A tier. I also realised we had so many distractions in this. We're actually going to go over time again. We actually managed to keep it to exactly 2 hours with fire types. But we're not going... almost exactly 2 hours. But yeah. I think Magearna in solid A tier is good. I do like it. I think it's a cool Pokemon. Stakataka, you are definitely A tier. I like the vibe. I love that it looks like just the giant stone thing. It's probably my least favorite of the Steel Ultra Beasts. But I don't like it. You know what? Go here. Go above Durant. Just by Mawile. I really like Stakataka. I had a fun time fighting it as well because the Steel-type gym leader in our gym challenge. Their ace Pokemon is a Stakataka. And it was a very fun time. fighting it. I think it's a really cool Pokemon. Now, here's a fucking weird one. Baby Melmetal, and Giga Melmetal. The Pokemon Go Pokemon. I'm going to put it this way. I know very little about these Pokemon, other than they're a legendary, they've got a really cool attack, and you can only get them in Pokemon Go. I'd say Baby Melmetal, go in B tier. You're inoffensive. Actual Melmetal, I kind of dig, honestly. I think, go above Steelix. I think it's kind of cool. And G-Max Melmetal, I've actually seen your animations. You look hysterical. So I'll put you there. Yeah. I don't dislike it at all. It's not one of my absolute, like, win, but I like it, you know? It's a cool Pokemon. And I like the vibe they went with Liquid Metal. I think that is a thing they can explore a lot more, and preferably put it in something that's not exclusive to Pokemon Go. Because that definitely deducts points for me. Now. I said that I would give the explanation as to why Skarmory has massively fallen off for me over the years. And the next Pokemon is the primary course. Gonna be honest. So, Corviknight. Corviknight is well known to be my favorite regional bird of all time. Corviknight is a phenomenal Pokemon. It's the only regional bird I have actively gone, I'm going to use this on my Elite Four beating team. I have never done that with a regional bird. Not even Talonflame got that kind of, like, honor. But Corviknight is an amazing typing. One of the best designs ever in Pokemon. Corviknight, I genuinely think I've said before, Corviknight, if I had to make a team of Pokemon that people said, you have to beat another player. No legendaries used. But you have to use your skill and ability, build a Pokemon team. Or if I was told, build a Pokemon team for another person. That's balanced, it's got to be well designed, it's got to be just a all-comers kind of team. Corviknight's on that team. Without a shadow of a doubt. Corviknight is an amazing Pokemon. I really enjoyed using it in Pokemon Scarlet. I've loved using it in Pokemon Rogue. I'm going to love using it in Pokemon Sword and Shield because it's going to be on my team. It's genuinely going to be my starter Pokemon for the region, I'm pretty sure, because I'm not a huge fan of the Galar starters. And I really like Corviknight. So, I will use Cinderace, don't get me wrong, I will use it, it will be very good. But, they also absolutely knew they got a winner with Corviknight. It's so heavily pushed in the game. Sword and Shield, let's face it, Sword and Shield's ace Pokemon, the Pokemon you think of when someone says Pokemon Sword and Shield, you probably think Corviknight. That's probably the first thing that comes to mind, because they so heavily pushed it in the game. It's great, it's one of the best Pokemon ever made. Genuinely, you're going up here, you're only losing out to Aggron. Genuinely. Corviknight is on my Pokemon team. Pretty much. If I have to build a competitive team, Corviknight is on it. Usually it's my tank. I really like it. I've used... There's the same set that I use is my Brave Bird, Roost, Body Press, Iron Defense set. Give it leftovers. Make it an absolute walking tank. Well, flying tank, I guess. I really like Corviknight. It's an amazing Pokemon. And G-Max Corviknight is also a very, very good design. I don't like it as much as normal Corviknight, but it doesn't change that much either. So go here. Go low S tier. But I still really like the Pokemon. And Corviknight is just peak. It's so good. And that's a close competition for reference to the top spot. It beat out Easy Bake. And that's really saying something, considering how much I love Easy Bake as well. For reference, these top three are very, very much in contention. But basically, my preference for using non-legendary Pokemon over legendary Pokemon for most things, outside of Ubers, in which case you bet your ass I'm going to use every legendary I can. I know Heatran's a mythic, don't get me wrong. But yeah, essentially, slightly wins out. Q-Fan, I think Q-Fan's fine. I will put Q-Fan probably here, bottom of A tier. It's not bad. It's a little goofy for my taste. Copperaja, however, you are going high A tier. I think Copperaja... I wish it was a better Pokemon. That's what I can say about Copperaja. It's a really cool Pokemon. I love how it works. I wish it had better moves for what it does. Or for what it wants to do. And I wish it had better stats. It's got a massive health pool and a massive amount of attack. It has very, very low defense and speed, unfortunately. So it does lose out a bit. But I do still think it's a very cool Pokemon. I think it is very neat. I love what it represents. I love that it's just the normal elephant Pokemon as well. We've needed a normal elephant for a while. And I really like it. So, yeah. Winning Copperaja. G-Max Copperaja, though, you are awful. I do not like it. In fact, you know what? Let's go here. I think G-Max Copperaja is not a great design. It's just a fucking wall with an elephant trunk on it. It's the worst G-Max, in my personal opinion. I'm not a huge fan. It's just not great. It's just not great. I don't like it. I never have liked it. But Copperaja itself is a great Pokemon. I wish they kind of went, like, Mammoth-y with it instead of building. It doesn't really... It doesn't do it for me. Duraludon! Duraludon. Duraludon, you are getting a solid spot in A tier. Now, I've said this before. Duraludon, it's a cool Pokemon. It's very cool. I really like it. Yeah, I have a Duraludon currently on my gym leader team. It's very cool. I like it a lot. But it was just missing that special something, you know? It was like Bisharp for me. It's just missing that something that takes it over the edge and makes it into a really good Pokemon. And you know what they did? They made a G-Max form, which was also really bad. So G-Max Duraludon, you go in here. I can't put you any higher. As I said, I think it's one of the worst dragons ever. I believe I put it... No, I can't do that. I don't hate it that much. It's still a dragon. I've got to remember that. Yeah. There. Okay. I think it's a downgrade from Duraludon is the main bit, but looking objectively at the other Pokemon in it, I think it's better than a lot of the others for my preference. But I just still don't like it. And then we got the real Duraludon. The Duraludon we all wanted, really. We got the bridge himself, Archaludon, the pseudo-legendary, and I'm not gonna lie, Metagross, I'm really sorry. I love Archaludon. In fact, you know what? Yeah. I really like Archaludon, okay? It's close to taking Dialga's spot. The only reason it doesn't is because I slightly prefer Dialga's design. But if I had to choose which one to use in a Pokemon battle, I would actually choose Archaludon. It's better in battle than Dialga. In most cases. But I really, really, really like Duraludon. I really like Archaludon. Archaludon is such an upgrade. I love its ability. Stamina's so cool. You knew it. You all knew it was getting up there. I really fucking like this Pokemon. I am looking forward to using it very soon because actually my opponent... Someone is finally taking on the third gym badge on my stream. Not my stream. My third gym badge in the gym tournament, which has my Archaludon on that team. So I'm very much excited to use it. It won't get the full power of an Archaludon because we're limited to learn set moves and not really got any TMs yet. But my Archaludon is going to be very, very fun to use because I love this Pokemon and it's fantastic. So yeah. I do love it. Genuinely one of the best Gen 9s. And Gen 9 is stacked for Steel types. As well. Now. Here's the thing. Zacian. Now, Zacian, I said before, is arguably... It's tied with Lunala for being my favourite non-dragon legendary. I love Zacian. Zacian, without a shadow of a doubt, you're in S tier. But where are you in S tier? There, probably? Yeah, it's God Tinkerton. This is Tinkerton built for battle and nothing else. Type-wise, and attacks-wise, and stats-wise. It is an insane Pokemon. It was so powerful, I legitimately had to nerf it. Because it was so broken. I love it. I love her vibe. I love what she represents. She is a fantastic Pokemon. And I do believe Zacian is actually a female as well. I believe Zacian and Zamazenta are siblings. Zacian is the female one, Zamazenta is the male one, which is actually a good bit, because I believe that's actually intentional. But yeah, she is the main reason I'm picking Pokemon Sword over Pokemon Shield, because other than that, I really couldn't pick which one I preferred. So I literally just picked which legendary do I prefer more. And I prefer Zacian, genuinely. Zamazenta is very cool, do not get me wrong, but Zacian is so much cooler. And Fairy Steel type is the best typing in Pokemon. And this is one of the best Pokemon ever. Like, in terms of power, she's one of the best. She is on my Uber's team that I have used before. She just does so much work. She's just an absolute beast. She's very reliable as well. So I really like her. Zamazenta I do very much like as well. I'd say maybe here. Crown Zamazenta. Yeah. I do think I slightly prefer it to Mawile. But, while it is a very cool Pokemon, it kind of loses out to a lot of the things in S tier, I'd say. Like, looking at S tier, I think I prefer everything in S tier to Zamazenta. That's not saying I wouldn't use Zamazenta over some of them. Like, I'm going to use it if I have to choice between using a fucking Beldum or a Zamazenta. I'm using the Zamazenta Crown. But, overall, it's great. It's really cool. I like its vibe, but it doesn't quite hit S tier for me, personally. Okay, guys. You already know exactly what's about to happen. We're about to have a massive tier shakeup. So, I have regularly said that one Pokemon line is the peak of Paldea. And that's it. You all knew that Tinkaton was gonna be the top spot. I fucking love Tinkaton. Tinkaton is on my Challenger team for the Pokemon, for the Gym Challenge that I'm currently doing. It was on my original team for beating Pokemon Scarlet. I absolutely love this Pokemon. I have regularly used it in competitive Pokemon. I love my Sword Stance Adamant Tinkaton, the pure attack version. It's so good. I absolutely love it. I love the type. I love the vibe. Millim, you're a wonderful Pokemon. You are one of my aces. You will be on pretty much every Pokemon team I will use in the future for, like, a first run of games. On my like, usable list, you're just behind, like, Garchomp. You're so good. You also weirdly fit... It also weirdly fits perfectly on, like, my standard setup team. Because my standard setup team, if I had to go with a vibe overall, would be probably Garchomp, Tyranitar, Tinkaton, and then Corviknight. Basically meaning it's a Sandstorm team, and these all actually work on a Sandstorm team, which I do very much like. And yeah, Tinkaton is pretty much perfection in a Pokemon. Easy member of my top 10. Easy member of it. Maybe number 5, genuinely. I absolutely love her. Yeah. It's a hard spot to beat. Best Gen 9 Pokemon, personally. She just is. I love her. Okay, now here's a weird one. Varoom, I'm not a big fan of Varoom. I think Varoom is under-designed, weirdly. I think it needs a bit more to be cooler. Reveroom, however, I quite like. Reveroom you're getting here in B-Spot. I quite like Reveroom. I think it's a pretty cool Pokemon. But it loses out a bit in, like, ability and power and stuff. It's not amazing. It's not bad. So I wouldn't be upset using one, but it's like, I'd probably prefer something else. But it is very cool, and I do kind of like its vibe. We're going to go through these last ones pretty quick. Probably. Orthworm. Okay, guys, here's the secret. I have said repeatedly, I don't like Goofy. Okay. I don't think I dislike this Pokemon, but I certainly don't like it. So, I'll put Orthworm as can't see a fault. But not because I can't see faults. I can see a lot of faults with Orthworm. I am not a huge fan of it. But what it does do, it does very well, and it's an interesting concept. Like, it's got Earth Eater, which is very cool. It's got very high physical defense. It's got pretty good attack, if memory serves. It's got the vibes. So this is one that I would say it loses a lot for its design, but how it works in-game brings it back up to the average bar. It's fine. I am not a huge fan of it personally, but it's pretty cool. It is a pretty cool Pokemon. Iron Treads. Now, Iron Treads, I love this one. Iron Treads' main problem is its competition. I think it's a phenomenal Pokemon. I think it's incredibly cool. Unfortunately, I do think it's better than Donphan. I will say this as well. It is better than Donphan, which is a very good Pokemon. I do like Donphan. So let's get that out of the way. Unfortunately for the Dyson Hoover, his brother's better. In every way. I think Iron Treads is one of the best Future Paradox Pokemon. It's a very cool design. I love the whole trunk that turns into a wheel that goes around its whole body. I love the, like, mecha drone looking thing. It's a really cool Pokemon. Unfortunately, you've got to compare it to its older brother, Great Tusk, which is one of the best Pokemon designs ever made, and one of the best designs for Paradox Pokemon of the lot, including the past ones. It's one of the best. So, you're really up against it. Your highs are not as high, your lows are not as low as well. Unfortunately, you're just not as cool as the Mammoth. It's what it comes down to. You're great, Iron Treads. You are a very, very cool Pokemon. I will fully give you that credit, which is why you're in A tier. Unfortunately, you're no Great Tusk. Genuinely. And that is unfortunate about it. Goldengo, okay, Goldengo's grown on me. I don't like its design still. I will fully say that. But I can't ignore how fun it is to use in battle, okay? About here, yeah. Goldengo is a bad design. I don't like that it looks like the cheese string guy. I get what they were going for, don't get me wrong. It's good. It's obscenely good. It's a broken as shit Pokemon. It is obscenely powerful beyond imagining. And it's a great one. You never upset to get it on your team. But my fucking god, does it look dumb. It's a great Pokemon. This Pokemon is absolutely a negative on the design, but its power is so ridiculously high that if it had a better design, it would probably be an S tier. I'll put it that way. I don't like Goldengo's design so much that it loses a lot of points, but how it works is so obscenely good that if this thing... Let's put it this way. If this thing looked like Bishop, it would be an S tier. Immediately. But how it works in battle... Like, because of how it works in battle. But I really don't like its design. Which shows how much I like using it in battle. Because I don't like its design, and it's still got a solid spot in A tier. So, I'll put it that way. That's telling for me. And then we've got Iron Crown. Now, I'm going to be honest, I vastly prefer Iron Crown to Cobalion. I think Iron Crown is a much better design. I think the Swords of Justice got a lot cooler in their Paradox forms. I think that was a significant upgrade. But, with the exception of Terrakion, I think Terrakion is a better design than Iron Boulder. But I do really like Iron Boulder too, and Iron Boulder is a better Pokemon than Terrakion. And I also love the ability Tachyon Cutter. The move Tachyon Cutter is so good. So, I say that Iron Crown is... You know what? Let's put you just behind Goldengo. I don't think I'm upset about that spot, really. I don't like using it in battle anywhere near as much as Goldengo, but I like its design more than Goldengo. But again, Goldengo is a really, really, really good Pokemon, so, yeah. And there it is! There is the Steel-type tier list on the dot of 8 o'clock as well. This was a fun one to do because, as I say, I love Steel-types. Dragons are my favourite. Fire-type is my starters. But Steel-types, I like Steel-types. There will always be a Steel-type on my team if I can get one. As I like a lot of these Pokemon a lot. A massive amount. There is some of my favourite Pokemon of all time are on this list. Which is why I was very excited to do it. Steel-type is my third favourite type of Pokemon, I wish to say. Both because it's got a lot of really good winners in its on its list, and the type itself is a really good one to use. Which is the main thing about my top 5, and why they're top 5. I love using the type in battle, and I like the Pokemon. That's where a lot of the types lose out a bit, is that I usually like one or the other for it. That one very specifically is why Rock type is actually not in my top 5. Because I like a lot of Rock type Pokemon, but I don't really like the type that much. It's not a bad type, don't get me wrong, but I love a lot of Rock type Pokemon. So a lot of the Rock type Pokemon are much higher on my tier list than the Rock type itself. So, like, if certain Pokemon weren't Rock type, like Aggron, it would be so much more powerful. But I will say, it's gonna be good. But yes, that is our Steel tier list, as I said, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it, honestly. I'm satisfied with this tier list. I think it's a good one. I know some people are gonna fucking hate a lot of it, because there's some very controversial picks on here. But I say this is my very biased personal opinion. And honestly, this was a good time. I'm really enjoying doing this series, so yeah. I've got a bit of a headache, by the way. I don't know if you could tell towards the end that I was getting a bit of a headache. But yeah. This was an absolute delight to do. And I'm looking forward next week to doing Dark types. So, but do tune in tomorrow where I'll probably be playing Poker Rogue or something. I don't really know what we're playing tomorrow. But we'll be having a good time either way. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Have a fantastic evening, everyone. Keep playing video games, keep awesome guys. Oh, the best on Twitch. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Have a wonderful evening. And do tune in tomorrow for my regular streams. And remember, go through the rest of the week. With Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll all be doing stuff. And then, if you're only tuning in for the tier lists, do check out my other stuff as well, because it's always appreciated. Go and check the previous tier list out on YouTube. There is a link in there's a link in my on my Twitch page, which takes you straight to the YouTube channel. So do check them out and check out my other stuff. Don't cringe too badly at some of my old stuff. I was a lot worse at this. I was a lot younger and a lot worse at this, which is really depressing because how bad I am now. But yeah, do tune in and look forward to next week if you are, and tune in for the rest. So. Have a fun time. We're going Dark types next week, guys, so it should be a fun one. Okay, see you around. Have a fantastic time. Good night. See ya.